What's up, everybody? Sam Smyers here. Today, I want to go over the top UK garage bass sounds of today. And before we get started, please make sure that you like this video and are subscribed to my channel. The reason I wanted to do this video is because I just released a new Serum preset pack, the Sam Smyers Serum UK Garage Collection Volume 2. And as I was creating this pack, I typically go through Beatport, Spotify, just looking at all of the top UKG songs that are out there, and then I will come up with sounds that are inspired by those top songs. I noticed a lot of similarities as I was going through all of these songs, and so I just wanted to give you a few basses that are really popular right now. So it's like 2025 and trends change, but at the moment, these are the ones that I feel like are dominating this sound. So this can help you if you are trying to release a song on a label or want to get your song played by DJs. If you use one of these bass sounds, then it can help you get a little bit closer to achieving that goal, because you know this is the sounds that people are looking for and wanting. Now, I know that like trends come and go, and one of these bass sounds I'll show you is already on the tail end of dying, but I still hear some people using this bass sound. So I just want to present it to you in case you want to try a song using this bass sound. The first song I want to show you is the Reese Bass using primarily sine waves. And I believe there's a song called Your Love by Sosa that came out a few years ago that is still on the Beatport charts. And that is the sound that really inspired the whole trend that is happening right now. So this sound, I actually have this in my, I put this out in a pack a while ago. So this one is not in my most recent pack, but it sounds like this. And you can hear it's got that like detuned sound. You hear this wobble effect happening, and that is because you have these sine waves phasing with each other to create that wobbling effect, and that is what a Reese Bass sound does. So this is the Sosa style Reese Bass that I've been hearing a lot in a lot of tracks right now. So the way that you do this, or just some ways that you can do this, and I will preface this by telling you I do have a full video on all kinds of variations of how you can create this sound. So I'm just gonna go through this stream of, just go through this really quickly, and just so you can get an idea of how to do it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add on a sub, -2 octave. I turn my voicing on to mono. And let's go ahead and put this onto a sine wave. And let's go take this down an octave. And what I can do here is I can take this fine tuning. Let's do -25 just to detune it. Then I'll do copy. Then I'll paste it over here. And let's do this one to +25. And there we have that wobbling effect happening because we have the detuning happening here. Now, what I could also do, I could take this up a bit. Let's do +7 semitones. But I still want that wobbling effect. So I could go into here, take this width to 0, and then add on 2 voices of unison. Let's go ahead and mute that real quick. And now when I adjust that detune knob, then I essentially adjust the rate of that wobbling effect because you're increasing or decreasing that detuning. And let's go ahead and turn this one back on. Let's adjust that fine tuning. And we get a sound like that. I can do the same thing here. Take this one to 0, add on 2 voices of unison. Get multiple layers, get multiple harmonics, and that is what I'm hearing now. Is I'm hearing multiple harmonics being in these Reese basses. And one thing you can do also, let's take this one to in Serum 2. Now you can change your mode to actually a harmonic mode. So I could do like take this to the 4th. Let's take that down 1 octave. And I get that sound. But I have that sub on there that gives it that lower octave there. And instead of using this harmonic mode, you could go into the wavetable editor here. And this is what I've been doing when I've been creating my presets to add in harmonics. You can just add in your own harmonics there and you get your own unique sound just by clicking in here and adjusting these bin sizes. And of course, you don't have to use the 2 voices of unison there. You can just do copy. Let's paste that and let's adjust this fine tuning to 25. And let's go ahead and take the randomness to 0. And you could also go into this macro. Let's maybe do something where we go -25 to 0 on there. And let's take this one to -25 to 0 as well on that modulation. And then I can adjust the amount of detune and wobbling that is going on there. I could take it even further if you want. So that is how you do that sine wave Reese bass. Now there is a variation also that I'm hearing is where you have this sound, but instead of it being more legato notes, you have more of a pluck sound to it. So this is like the sine wave Reese pluck sound. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my envelope 2 here, assign it to the cutoff. Let's turn on for AB in my sub. And let's do this MG low 24. So in this way, you can add a bit more bounce to your track by, instead of having these legato notes with this sound, you can still use this sound by having whatever plucky-ish notes you have and having the, like all that phasing happening and then all the harmonics happening. So here's an example. I have this preset called Bank It in my preset pack. That is that sine wave Reese sound. I took these wavetables here and I just added in some bins there to customize them. And here I have this -25 and that +25. Now let's see if I got a wobble somewhere that's, I have one that's more like the Pluck. So here's this one. It's inspired by Slow Burner, where I do have this envelope 2 assigned to the cutoff. Gives it more of that plucky wub sound. And with that sine wave Reese bass, you could also do some variations of a triangle wave or even a square wave. If you do that, so let's say I have this here. Let's take that width to 0. You can get a bit more brightness out of that, but let's add on a filter to it. So you could also use like a triangle wave or even a square wave with a filter, because it has a bit of that like smooth sound that you get with a sine wave, but a little bit more brightness. Now the next one is just your typical Reese bass with a saw wave. So let's do 7 voices of unison. Actually, let's do 4 voices of unison. Take this octave -2, turn my voicing on to mono. Now with Serum, you do have that really wide sound, and I would actually recommend going into here and taking this width down. So I'm going to start at 0. And with less voices of unison, you can actually hear more of that phasing happening. So I would opt for less voices of unison versus going to something like 7 or above. So I would go for something like this. I would add on a filter. Let's add on a MG-Low 24 filter. You could add on your portamento to give it some glide. And if you did want to add some width, let's take it up to like 20. Something like that. And for EQing it, a lot of times I like to use something where I am doing a cut, like a pretty steep cut. And you can just do a cut like that, scroll through, find the frequencies you want to cut. You could use something like this filter where you've got these phaser filters with varying poles that you can use. And I think that gives it a unique way to EQ the sound, make it a bit nicer sounding than that, which feels a bit, I don't know, it's filling out all the frequencies, feels a bit flat to me. So an example of that in my preset pack is going to be, I believe I did one for Not the Same. This is the Sammy Virji, inspired by the Sammy Virji song. And for this, all I have 3 voices of unison. Width is at 0. We've got that filter on. And then here you can see I'm cutting out some frequencies here and giving it a boost. So I'm just playing around with the EQing, and that's really it. The next bass I want to go over, I will call the Stussy Bass. This sound, I feel like it's been around for a while, but Chris Stussy had a song called All Night Long that is not really a UKG style song, more of a deep house song, but that sound has been picked up by artists like Rorden, who's doing a lot in UKG right now, and other artists. And I've been hearing it a lot in a lot of tracks. And that is just having two saw waves. One has a saw wave that is +7 semitones above it. So let's do this. Take up this semitone to +7. And voicing on mono, let's add on some portamento, go into our envelope. Let's maybe adjust the envelope a bit. Let's add on a plucky filter here, and I will use my envelope 2 to do that. So let's do MG-Low 24, take my envelope 2 to my cutoff, shift option. Like that. Maybe I'll give it a delay, like a ping pong delay, 8th note. EQ it like that. Add on some reverb if you want. Let's do a hall reverb. All right, easy sound to do. That is really popular. Let's listen to the preset that I made based off of that Chris Stussy sound song, All Night Long. Just like that. Now on this sound, I have a bit of noise. I have these semitones adjusted. And let's go into the effects, delay, and reverb. The next bass sound is going to be a variation off of this, which is going to be that Notion bass, which is the one from The Days. You can hear John Summit doing it in Crystallized. I believe James Hype does it in Waterfalls. Just everybody is doing it in a bunch of their like UKG style tracks or Speed Garage style tracks. And it's essentially going to be, let's initialize this, take this down 1 octave, take this down 1 octave, raise this up plus 7 semitones, turn our voicing on a mono, take up this fine tuning, and that's going to give you that rising and falling in the gain. And you can adjust that one as well. Add on a filter. For the Days, when I remade the Days style sound, I actually added on a filter to just the lower one here. And then I added on some distortion. EQ'd it a bit. Something like that. So let me check and see how close that was. Let's see how I did that. Bass sound in The Days. Yeah, pretty close. And that is essentially a sound you've been hearing in so many songs. And just play around with setting. This is the template here. Turn your voicing on to mono and play around with the fine tuning. Add on your filters, add on your distortion, add on your delay to make it more unique. Now this last bass is inspired by Sammy Virji. This one is all over his album Same Day Cleaning. It's a very simple bass. And this is, I'm going to call this one like the Virji 808 because it is simply an 808 style bass. It has a bit of FM, but not too much FM, where I would specifically say it is an FM bass. Or like when I say an FM bass, then people might think of something else. So let me show you how I would do this. Let's take my voicing to mono, octave, -2, sine wave, randomness all the way down. Got our sub, might want to put on some headphones so you can hear this. Some nice release there. And with his tracks, he has a lot of bounce in them, and he's using this 808 to add nice bounce to them, so you can adjust your release depending on how you're making the bounce and how much space you want in between each notes, how many notes you're using. And what I will do here is add on another sine wave, take this all the way down, and this is where I'm going to add in the FM. So we'll just add in. Let's actually do PD. I like how PD sounds better. And it's simply that sound. It's such an easy sound. Not really using like a lot of distortion, keeping it relatively clean with a little bit of this FM, which is the old FM on the Serum one is now PD, if you don't know that. So using a bit of this FM, and then what you could do, you could also experiment with adding your knock to that. So envelope 2, let's assign this to my main tuning, and let's just actually raise this up, see what we can get with this. If you want a bit of knock. And I think that's like really it for that one. So I made this one called Burn the River, which is essentially what I just made. added a bit of a filter to take off some of the harmonics that were coming through from adding in this FM or the PD to keep it more rounder. And then in here, just a bit of EQ. And there is another one. There is this sound in Damager with Interplanetary Criminal. And this style is more of that FM bass style, where I would say it's almost like an FM bass, but as you can see, very similar to that last one where I've got the PD here, but there's a bit of modulation happening in this PD. Got that filter on there. So this is more of like a FM style bass using the sine waves. Those are some of the most popular UK garage basses right now. If you do want to grab my preset pack, the Sam Smyers Serum UK Garage Collection Volume 2, you can grab that at store.samsmyers.com.